Welcome to the Brookhill Life Legacy and Leadership Podcast. I am David Pate, the podcast guy. That is who I am. I am here today. I am joined with Steven Sexton, the Steven Sexton, the one, the only, the original.
The original.
The original. He got here at Brookhill, arrived on the scene in 1996.
That's right.
He finally hung up the red tee in 2012. He was in the Hackneys from 96 to 98, camp director 99 to 2012. Steve, you were one of the few kind of counselors, camp directors that was not a camper here.
That's right.
But ended up being in the big chair, leading this thing, taking it to the next level. So tell us a little bit about your life. Tell us a little bit about who you are. I mean, I know some of our audience knows you. You're just mythical.
Right. Well,
you're like the unicorn. I mean, everybody knows who you are. You're infamous. That's how famous you are.
Infamous. That's a good word.
Yeah.
That's a good word. Well, I got saved at a young age. I actually, so people don't know this, I moved to Hot Springs from Waco, Texas, and I moved because I was on parole.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So at 18,
it's all coming to light now.
At 18, I decided to be a crazy senior, and I wanted to paint a water tower. We were in a small community, and about 4 or 5 of us guys talked every year. There was a water tower like 2 blocks from our school, our high school, and we thought we need to paint that water tower. We need to paint Conley cadets in the water. So this is Waco, and so we decided our senior year we're going to do it. We had this master plan, and this was highly organized, and by me, and a couple of my friends, and so needless to say, the water tower was connected to the police station.
Okay. This wasn't real well thought out.
No. It actually was, but because we got caught, I guess it wasn't. But and so we knew when there was one police officer, because it was a small little community, and so one of our friends, let's just say they called in a report that was not true. And
a false report.
However you want to say that. And so anyway, come to find out, we climbed this fence that says "Do not climb." We put a blanket over the barbed wire fence, and we shimmy up this water tower to paint it. And my teeth are wired shut. I just had jaw surgery.
Wait. What? Yeah. Okay, wait. What is this? Explain this.
So I had an overbite, and so I actually had to get my jaw fixed and aligned. And so once that happens, your teeth are wired shut. So the reason they knew that there were 2 people is because there were 2 milkshakes in the truck. And so this is way before CSI and all of those shows have come out. So long story short, we get caught, and my mom says, "You're not staying here. There's a calling of God on your life. You're going somewhere." And I'd been in the church. I'd never gotten in trouble. It was just one of those creative, dumb moments. And so my youth pastor's wife had gone to a seminar, and she said, "I think there's this place in Hot Springs that Steven would like. There's a camp, there's a college, there's a whatever. So anyway, come up here. Don't want to come from Texas. Come on, Texas boy."
Right, that's right.
So,
that's right.
Coming up to Arkansas, I was like, I'm going to wear shoes. I'm going to keep my shoes on. And so anyway, came up, absolutely did not want to come. And it opened the door for just a lot of opportunities. Came up here, went to college, and then heard about Brookhill. And so every day that I was in college class, I talked about, I want to know about Brookhill. What happened? Who was it? When did it start? I was, mesmerized by what was happening. And I'd always loved young people and camps. So anyway, at that time, Brian Cato was the camp director.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember walking up to him and saying, hey, I want to talk to you about camp. And so this is in September. And he's like, great, let's talk about it later. We just got done with camp. And so every month I went to talk to him about camp.
Come on.
And every month he would say, I told you we're not going to talk about this right now. And so at that point, I was very persistent. And so finally it gets down to about April. And he finally says, hey, Steve, we want to talk to you about camp. And I was like, what? Let's go. And he said, yeah, I think we want to hire you as an extra.
Okay.
And so at that time, an extra was up at Hetty Lou's house. And it was kind of support staff. And so I was like, all right, let's do it. That'll be great. I'll do anything. Well, I'll go through the interview process. And I'm hired for an extra support staff. And a week before staff training, the guy who was in the bunkhouse got mono and could not do summer camp.
Okay.
And so there was an opening in the Hackney bunkhouse.
Come on.
And there you go.
And the rest is history.
That's the road.
Come on. It's like God was calling you here.
It was as if my steps were being
That's incredible.
divinely orchestrated.
That's incredible.
And, what was cool about it is, I hadn't had many victories, but I was just good at camp. I was good at kids.
Right.
And so what's funny is, before camp, my GPA was not very high.
Okay.
It was like a 1.9.
Okay.
So at the college at that time, you had to have a 2.5 to stay enrolled. And so they were like, you're probably not going to be able to come back, because it's not your gift. What they meant is you stupid. And so...
they said it in a very nice way.
But that's right. And so... But my summer at camp, first summer, it was just favor. It was good. I loved it. And the win of the first summer changed my academics and my pursuit because there was something in the bank. So I went from a 1.9 to a 3.6.
Wow.
And so
That's
it was just
incredible.
neat how being in the culture of Brookhill, learning, experiencing it, and stepping into more actually propelled and changed probably every part of my life.
Come on.
So super exciting.
Now, I heard a story, and I don't know if you can confirm this, and I think it was Mev. She was up here last week, and she said that y'all kind of knew each other through Waco.
We did.
And she said that y'all had this conversation, and I said, I'm going to ask about this on the podcast, that you were like, what is this Brookhill? They were all into Brookhill, and you were kind of like, what is this Brookhill? This was, I guess, before you came up here.
Yeah, it was way early.
And then so somehow y'all had this friendship, and then she said after you got here and experienced it, you were like, okay, I get it.
Yeah. And it's funny because everybody who's been to Brookhill tries to explain it.
Right.
And you there's not enough time and there's not enough words.
Right.
And so really you have to experience the love, the calling, the ability to, call you up higher and believe that you can do greater things than what you're doing. And so all of that was implanted to me as a staff member. But, I was always jealous because they got it as a camper.
Yeah. Sure.
And so, all of these campers that are coming once a week or sometimes twice a week, I've been able to see it in my kids, even as a different perspective than me being on staff. Now, I loved it like I was a kid, you know what I mean? But it's now, something that they talk about all year long.
Yeah.
And a funny song or something that we do, that culture carries. And I feel like my kids are funner because they've experienced Brookhill and seen that you can be fun and not goofy, but you have there's a level of fun where you bring the excitement and the energy. And so I'm now getting to see it from both sides, and now I can understand obviously what Mev was trying to communicate, that you go up on a ranch,
In
there's
Arkansas.
no air condition in Arkansas, and you play Aggie-Mo.
Right.
You know,
What's Aggie?
What's
Right.
Aggie? You have
That's
to run
weird.
the bases backwards.
Right. This is
Yeah.
weird. These people are weird.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what you're thinking.
And then and everybody ends it with biscuits and gravy, and you're like, okay, that sounds nice.
Right. And we do cabin cleanup, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, that was funny. It was funny because we did have that conversation my first all summer, and it was. I mean, she kind of had the gleam in her eye, like, I told you.
I told you so.
I told you so. And at that point, I couldn't say anything. I was like, you're right.
You're like, you're right. Okay.
I was lost, but now I'm found.
That's right. But it's so cool because literally what we're seeing happen for these campers, that happened to you, even as a counselor, where these giftings were in you.
Right.
You just didn't know it or hadn't had this outlet or this this place for you to grow that and foster that and develop that.
Absolutely.
And then all of a sudden you have these wins in your life.
Right.
And it literally takes off your ministry.
And absolutely. It was a catalyst.
Come on.
For everything else. There's a system to Brookhill, and there's a structure to Brookhill, and there's shepherding.
Sure.
And so those three things, I think, are the intangibles. People will say counselors and the tradition and the fact that it stays the same, and all of that is 100% true. But the intentionality on the backside makes all of that,
Sure.
all
Makes it
that
work.
makes it work. And so having a system to win, the staff trainings, being, that was back when Hetty did it. So I'm sure that you guys don't do as long. Meaning as far as hours, but we would bring pillows, and our bedtime was 2 and 3 o'clock, and so I know that you guys go longer.
Well, the difference today is you guys had to get saved, I think.
Yes, we did.
Eddie's like, I want to get these guys saved before they work with young people. Now
Yes.
that's a prerequisite.
Is it, okay.
They have,
All
to
right.
to be they have to
Upgrades.
know Jesus before they get
They
here.
have to- okay.
It's part of the application process. So you met your wife here.
I did.
I mean, and you're married to Katie.
I'm married
How
to
long
Katie,
have y'all been
18
married?
years. We're married, 4 kids, and she was in the Lipizzans,
Come on.
and I was in the Hackneys, and it was funny. So here's a funny story that people don't know. So we were dating, and at that point in time, I was already the camp director,
Okay.
and so
While she was in the Lipizzans.
no.
No. Okay. No.
So she wanted to work the summer before, and we had just started dating, and I didn't hire her.
Now, wait a minute.
Yeah.
You didn't hire the girl that you were dating.
I did not hire the girl I was dating because I know this is now looking back at it, it's so crazy.
This is how you won her over right here.
Actually, it's funny. We broke up, and then I did the whole summer,
Okay.
and then afterwards I was like, "Dang, I miss her." And so it's as crazy as that sounds, and everybody's probably listening. Oh, you were a jerk. Well, yes, I was, but what was, I mean, at that point in time, camp, ministry, and whatever, like I didn't want anything to
Sure.
deter my focus.
Sure.
And there wasn't really a lot of oversight in y'all can do this. It's going to be
Yeah.
fine. It was just, are you sure you want her to work? And I was like, I guess not. So next year I did hire her.
Because you did want her to work.
I did want her to work. And that was a fun summer because I wrote a lot of notes, put it under the pillow. Come on.
Yep, there you go.
And so, but yeah, no, Brookhill's been a huge part in our marriage, just being like-minded,
yep.
being like-minded, be on the same page with life and fun and intentionality and purpose. Those things, I think that sometimes people try to find those, but it's really awesome to see people working in the same field and everybody sacrificed to be here.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it really began to solidify some of the, obviously I had the external beauty, all of these things. But for me, I knew what I was going to be doing my whole life.
Sure.
So I was really looking for someone who wanted to do that kind of stuff their whole life. And so obviously now we're 18 years and,
Come on.
life is good.
Yep.
It has been a journey, and a lot of the things that I think we learned from being on staff during the summer, it's funny. You learn how to work hard, finish the task, live with a purpose. Camp 1's over, but the summer's not.
Right.
It's just these concepts of we're still going.
Yep.
And so I think those have really helped us in our marriage.
Come on. Now, I don't know if you remember this. This was after Katie. I think y'all were married because, you were the camp director for many years after you were married.
That's right.
I mean, you had
That's
kids here. We had kids together.
That's it.
Your oldest, Trevor, same age as my oldest, Olivia.
That's it.
They're in little Brookhill staff T-shirts,
Together,
riding around on the four-wheelers
bathing
with
in the
us,
sink.
bathing in the camp sink with Connie.
That's it.
I mean, we did life together. And I don't know if you remember the one story. I don't know if Katie did the town list or whatever, but she had driven up and parked in front of the pavilion, and my truck was also parked in front of the pavilion. And something happened. And all I know is you and I are talking. I think Katie had come over to us, and we look up, and
my car is rolling,
slowly rolling toward my truck.
That's right.
And picking up speed as it goes down the hill in front of the pavilion. And all of a sudden, our cars wreck, and there's no people. And we watch it.
There's nobody in the driver's seat of either car. And I'm like, what? And my wife is like, she put it in park, but her purse wrapped around the gear shift.
Okay.
And so it didn't lock into park.
Yes.
So it held back, and the car was running.
Yep.
I mean, we were rolling. And so, absolutely.
Doing ministry together.
Doing
fun
ministry.
stories.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. Countless funny stories, funny moments of, staff, of joking around, of, coming up before Friday night or carnival night and just, playing.
Yep.
And it's fun because, it's hard to build deep, long-lasting friendships.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can't make a new
Yeah, Kevin Rawls. I think he said that we were hanging out this last year to both you and I.
Yeah.
Is you can't make old friends.
Can't make old friends.
I thought that was the best. Of course, only Kevin would come up with that. And I'm sure he's quoting somebody else, and he'll probably text us and correct us and let us know. That's how Kev does. But you can't make old friends. And, that's what people don't see. And I think that's what I learned from you the most was, during a downtime, hey, let's go play ping pong.
That's right.
Hey, let's go play basketball. And, people didn't see us, but you and I in the pav, just us playing ping pong together. And that's when that conversation starts.
Relational.
Dreaming. That's right.
Dreaming about what could be next, what God was going to do, where we were going to go, and I think that because people are so busy.
Yes.
I don't know if they have the time to dream with people. And I don't think that I would be where I'm at if you and I hadn't had those opportunities to connect, build trust, tear down walls, and talk about what could be.
Come on. Say that again. Connect,
build trust.
Build trust.
Tear down walls and talk about what could be.
Come on.
And so dreaming takes time.
Yes.
Because if you share your dream with someone too early in the friendship, they're going to challenge it. There's a certain level of people got to know each other before they go, I can see that, bro. That's great.
Yeah.
And it's not that you and I didn't challenge each other.
Sure.
We had many opportunities.
Yeah.
Many moments when it was like,
I'm not talking to that guy. I'm going to do my job and walk away.
Oh yeah.
Until we gave that bro hug and
but that's the thing. You just got to hug it out.
That's right.
Because you don't get to long-term friendships without misunderstandings. And here's the deal. You're either going to be right, you're going to be wrong, or it's going to be misunderstanding.
Every time.
Every time.
It's good.
So, yeah, I'm super thankful for the wreck moments, the jumping on the four-wheeler, the shooting guns, all of those moments build something.
And they always lead to conversations. People want to have conversations instead of just letting them organically develop over time. And it's something that we've started doing here with our team. We've gotten into bowling here.
Okay.
And so my guys, Tyler, Jason, we have our own bowling ball, our own shoes. And we run up to the bowling sometimes during lunch. I don't know if that would frustrate some people, but we do that. We go during lunch and we'll drink a Dr. Pepper, connect, and that's when those conversations happen. And I think it draws our team closer together. And people think that interrupts productivity. I think it creates more productivity.
Yeah, I was about to say, if someone hears you say that and goes, well, who's with the kids? I mean, the fact of the matter is for you guys, this is life.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
It's life. It's not just 8 or 10 weeks out of the summer. Mm-hmm. It's life.
Sure.
And so the camp is only as healthy as the leadership. And so as long as there is structure and there is order and there's a downline of authority, which there certainly is, I think that the highest people connecting, building friendships, I mean, it is going to be naive to think that all 4 or 5 of the highest level leaders in Brookhill aren't going to have a hard day or a moment that they have to walk through something with a child, with a kid, with whatever. And so it is not the job in and of itself that builds that loyalty. It is the connections that you've made in the job.
Come on.
So,
your ministry started here when we were talking about dreaming. You and I talked for years about you starting a church.
Right.
We talked for years about you building a ministry. What you loved about Brookhill was that Hetty had this legacy that she passed down to her kids and then to her grandkids. And then she had a vision for her great-grandkids and then on and on and on. And that really, you gravitated to that and thought, I want, and Hetty would always talk about build your own Brookhill, right?
Always.
And not that you're building Brookhill where you're at in Northwest Arkansas, but, tell us a little bit, we talked about those dreams and now, we watched them become a reality 2012. I'll never forget, Steve. I was telling our staff this, and man, I started crying last night as I was talking about this, and I don't talk about this very well because, you and we're talking about, 14, 15 years of ministry. And when you've done that many years of ministry and it was just me and you working together, leading staffs. And
that's it.
It was an honor for me to serve you. That was always, I felt like, God had called me to serve your ministry here.
Right.
And
vice versa. I felt like I was a transitional leader, and I was okay with that. I was okay with holding it. Now, there was tensions in that.
Sure.
There was tensions because Hetty was still wanting to touch it.
Sure.
Tim was wanting to lead it.
That's right.
His kids were coming up, and I was in the middle.
And then here you are.
Yeah. And so, trying to balance the tension of keeping the legacy, taking it forward, thinking out of the box, and giving opportunity. So that was just, but I always felt like I was a bridge for, you and Lynn, y'all's families to come up and really begin. And we talked about this, oh my gosh.
Hours, night
years,
after night.
Years and years.
Yeah.
But here's the thing is I think the lesson in that is I, just like you learned to find joy in serving me, I found 100%. Joy in wanting to see this Brookhill be everything and more than it was as it was for me. That the kids would be loved, that the JCs would be cared for, that the staff would grow, and be cared for. And and I think that, looking back on that, I think that there are a lot of things that I would do different, because you heal in stages.
Sure.
You heal in stages. But I think that God uses imperfect people for a perfect message.
Come on.
And so
God uses imperfect people for a perfect message.
yeah, he really does. And so
That's great.
most of us get healed on the journey.
Wow.
And you think about every counselor who is sitting in a bunkhouse right now. I mean, they are super believer.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
When in reality, at home, there may be a lot of stuff going on.
Sure.
And the one thing I love about Brookhill is it doesn't make you be there yet before you have an opportunity to be used by God. And I think that that is the recipe that allows people to really move through hurdles and hang-ups and move forward, is because if God can take my little, he can turn it into much.
Come on. But is that not the gospel? Is that not what Jesus was trying to get into our heart? But today it's the opposite. It's you got to be perfect before I'm going to follow you. You got to have it all together. And if I hear about a tweet that you did when you were in junior high, then your ministry is canceled. And I'm talking about the church. I'm not talking about culture. I'm talking about the church.
Well,
and it's like God uses broken people.
That's it.
Like you're saying.
Well, the truth of the matter is, David was learning how to be king in the palace where a king threw spears.
Wow.
But he was a farmer. I mean, he was a shepherd. He didn't know about royalty and how to act and demeanor. And he didn't know culture and customs. He was learning that from Saul, and he was hurt along the way. And I really do believe that life is about us not living a life that is unhurt, but it's going to God, who is the healer, and saying, okay, I'm still going to extract this great concept, even though I worked for someone who was imperfect, or, even my pastor or my leader or my boss. There's a lot of things that people aren't. And I think that one of the things that I even meant to talk about today is that, great leaders, when I left Brookhill, I would always, for the first 4 or 5 years, I'd have senior counselors message me and say, what makes a really good senior counselor or all summer staff? And I would always tell them, you have to see the greatness in campers before their lack.
Come on. See the greatness before the lack.
And I think our society has lost a little bit of that, and we polarize the lack when really God doesn't.
Come on.
God says, in your weakness, you'll be made strong.
That's great.
So,
Now the problem with this podcast is they're going to now find out that when I say see the greatness before the lack, that might have come from you. That you're excited about being on this podcast.
I am,
because you're throwing. You noticed how he's throwing out all these one-liners. He wants everybody to know where it came from originally. He's trying to let the staff know.
That's so funny. It's funny because over the years I will hear people say, David Payne said, David Payne said, David Payne said. And I was like, really? What does he say? Oh, he says this and this and this. And I was like, oh, I wonder where he got that.
They didn't ask where I got it from. They just said it was really good and wrote it down.
Hey,
I would have told them.
Listen, I'm just glad that it's still being used after all these years.
Come on.
Just getting done with staff meeting and watching people pray and be intentional and worship. And, camp is getting better, and camp looks incredible. And there's been a lot of work that the Pates and the McMillans have done to take it to the next level, along with your executive staff.
Absolutely.
But what I value is where it all comes from. And where it all comes from is a personal relationship with Jesus.
That's right.
Because people are not superhuman, but if they can go back to the source, then we can heal, we can overcome, and we can have great days, even in the midst of, adversity that we can't control. And so I was able to take that thought those concepts and go create something that I felt would be my Brookhill, and so, it's kind of like the Three Amigos. You're El Guapo. Your El Guapo may not be the actual El Guapo.
Sure.
And so, I'm not creating a kids camp, but I think that I really identified with building something that outlives you.
Come on. That is incredible. Building something that outlives you. Not building something that's about you.
That's right.
Building something that outlives you. That's incredible.
Yeah, because I think that everybody is trying to build something for themselves.
Sure.
Now, if you make $1 million or you're a social media influencer, you're somebody.
Sure.
But I really think that we as leaders are called to hold the ladder as other people climb up. And there's actually a verse in the Bible that says that all of our fruit will be credited to the one who taught us.
Wow.
So you and I are sitting here, and you're producing your fruit, but some of your fruit's going back in my account. My fruit and your fruit's going to Hetty's account,
100%.
And it's just building something that outlasts you is how we don't get burnt out in the religious practices of church or attendance.
Because you're walking in there with a higher vision, right? I've done camp, man. I've been here a long time, but what excites me is watching these red T-shirts.
Oh, man.
So that's brand new.
That's brand
For
new.
the ones who are here now, this is their first time to run a bunkhouse, or their first time. And I think that's what can change it for people, because you do get burned out. You can only do something for yourself so long.
That's it.
Until you get bored, because it's about you. But when it's about a new life, like you said, it's one of my favorite quotes that you use. You just used it, and I think we ran right over it. But hold the ladder as others climb up. That one and see the greatness for the lack. Those were the two that I remember.
Right.
That you talked about the most. But that is literally what I have tried to do. When you were talking, I was listening.
Right.
Always.
Right.
And you know that because you hear me saying it all the time, and you think you were like, you weren't just listening, you were stealing my notes. But holding the ladder as others climb up, that's what it's all about.
It's what it's all about. It's what it's all about, because here's the deal. We are such a me-centered society. And the truth of the matter is, all that we've experienced, every senior counselor, JC, AC, anybody from the past, anybody who has done with Brookhill or is about to start with Brookhill, the training that you're going to get, the intentionality of learning how to be present in the moment, see what's going on, minister, build relational equity for Friday night. I feel like those are things that will work in any job.
Anywhere.
And so if we are as strategic with taking this guy to coffee, and our Friday night may not be a week, it may be 6 months.
Sure.
But this guy gets saved. And I've heard countless alumni who have moved someone into their house, who have given someone an opportunity, who have held the ladder as someone climbed up, who one thing that I'm proud about, and I'm sure you are, is you got alumni that are some of the most charitable people.
Yes.
Because they want to see the gospel advance, and they want to hold the ladder as someone climbs up. So I do think that these kind of podcasts remind you that what I experienced still works.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I wanted to start this whole thing, because the more alumni I watch and observe, out there just killing it. They're just building on the same incredible leadership they had here.
Right.
They were the one the campers were thanking on Saturday. And
yeah.
now they just kept those character traits that I felt like they either learned here or developed here or whatever. And I was like, we got to talk to these people. People have to know. I just think there's so much negative news out there.
Right.
We hear about so many people that are doing wrong things. we don't hear enough about people that are doing right things,
We
that
don't.
aren't a scandal, that are loving people, that do have character, that do love Jesus. And I think we need to know that.
We absolutely do need to know that. And it's important for us to realize that, the importance of sharing this positivity, this news, what God is doing and what God continues to do. Negativity kind of shuts down your dreaming.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of makes you cynical and critical, and it makes you look with suspicion. What are they hiding?
It's true.
And if you're an investigator, a lot of times you're not a receiver. And so you can actually be in church trying to investigate the theology and doctrine. And I'm not saying that you don't need to. We study to show ourselves approved.
Sure.
But our world longs to try to find what's wrong with people rather than what they're contributing to society.
Come on.
The guy who is over facilities, the guy who is running a fire truck, the guy who is on the ambulance. I mean, there are so many people contributing to our society that is making our lives better. And now people aren't coming up to your chair.
Right.
You don't have
Sure.
a chair.
I don't have a chair.
But you're creating a downline where other people can have a chair.
That's what it's all about.
And I think that we can do that in every occupation, not just at Brookhill. And so that's what I'm trying to do with the house in Rogers. That's what I'm trying to do with Be the One.
Well, I want to go to that because, you held the ladder for me to climb up. And I'll go back to that story. We were sitting in closing ceremonies. I think it was like Camp 6, Camp 7. It was toward the end of the summer, 2012. And I think you had a conversation with Tim.
That's right.
And the next conversation you had was with me. And I remember it was closing ceremonies. We were getting ready for the kids to come in. And we were getting ready to talk to the parents. And you dropped this bombshell of, hey, this is it. I'm done. I'm going to start Be the One. I'm launching it now. I'm going to launch it in August. And I remember it hit me, whoa. I think the first thing that hit me was, okay, so that means you're not doing Turkey Day. So now I got to come up with something to say for Turkey Days.
Right.
That was the first thing that hit me. Because I had a whole other year to get ready for camp. But that was when I thought, okay, this is what we've talked about.
That's right.
Was you building Be the One and eventually the house. And I want you to share a little bit about that because that was in 2012 that you launched that and you went into
and it
Be
was
the
crazy.
One.
It was crazy because I went from everybody knows your name, building kind of a legacy of loving young people, loving staff, really doing a lot of leadership. To August, it was like, I transitioned out. A lot of this staff and people didn't even really know. They were like, what's going on? And, I didn't get fired.
No.
It was more of a...
Wasn't a scandal. You didn't do anything wrong.
There was nothing wrong. It was just I think it's time.
Right.
And I really knew that you and Lindley had more in you. So it was like, if I stay a couple years just because of comfort, I'm really not moving forward, and neither are y'all.
Wow.
So
that takes so much spiritual maturity.
Oh, man.
To allow someone to take something that you have built to this certain level.
Yeah.
And to say, it's your team now.
Well, and I was excited about the things that I got to bring to Brookhill. Brookhill was always safe.
Sure.
It was always fun.
Sure.
It was always kid-centered. But I think I got to bring maybe a little bit of spiritual depth to it where we didn't get into theology or weird stuff, but it was just like we're going to train up people who care about their relationship with the Lord.
Mm-hmm. Who know the Word. You wanted to dive into the Word. That's a disciple.
That's right.
Knowing the Lord on a deeper level, praying daily, having a quiet time. You were big on having those daily quiet times.
That's right.
That's what you had built here. That was the culture that you had built.
And so anyway, 2012, we in camp. The next week, we've been working at my home. I mean, literally, I used to live on Brookhill Ranch.
Right.
Right there past the pond. My wife and we got engaged on the dock.
Come on.
Where now everybody parks. So, I mean, we this was our life for 20 years, as a student, as a whatever. And so,
What is that like to dive off to
oh
the
my gosh.
unknown?
Oh my gosh.
What is that like?
Well, for me, it was a lot of excitement. For my wife, it was a lot of tears. I remember, transitioning, and I had moved all of the kids into our living room. I remade that a bedroom, added closets, moved my guest bedroom to the Be the One office, and then had one extra bedroom because I was going to have an intern or something. And so we were crammed. I mean, it was like, and my wife is like, after 2 months, I mean, there's no bookings, there's nothing. Yay, we're going to do Be the One. What is that? Well, we don't really know, but it's going to be awesome. And so my wife comes in after 2 months and says, hey, I really believe in you. This is going to be awesome. You have 6 months.
She put you on the clock.
She put me on the clock. She said, you have 6 months to start building something where we can begin to get some income. Because we had saved up our money and we were using that.
That was starting to...
It's starting to dwindle. And so it is crazy because at Brookhill, I had achieved a certain level of respect and status. And then starting over, it was like, great. There's no one to boss around. And my wife is like, listen, you ain't bossing me. So, I'm like, all right, kids, come here. Y'all are my JCs. Right. They're like, Dad, I don't want to be your JC. So anyway, luckily, prayerfully, thankfully, we had people come along, support us. We started doing missions trips. And then, Be the One next year will be 10 years.
10 years from
10,
that moment.
10 years, and we're doing local trips. We just had 60 kids coming on those. We have an internship. We had 5 college students come on those. We just launched our first missionary, Adam and Courtney.
Yes.
They are now in Belize, and so we're going to do in Belize what we've done here. They're going to do local trips and then go to Guatemala, El Salvador, whatever. We're starting these Activate clubs. We had 3 last year, New Mexico, Natchitoches, and Arkansas, and we're going to have 6 this year. So we're in schools where we mentor young people.
Now explain a little bit. Okay, explain what Be the One is.
Okay.
And then, explain that a little bit. Because I know we got some of our counselors, Natchitoches, we've got some of our senior counselors now that were a part of Activate.
Gotcha. So Be the One is all around this idea that God wants to use you right now.
Come on.
Like right now. And so we talk about 5 core values. Seek Him, see people, always give, bring the fun, make it better. So those are the things. So we're teaching leadership. We're teaching confidence. We're seeing young people put down their phones and invite people to their homes. All of the trips in COVID, all of them, we were able to partner with the school and do all of their requirements, but they all grew.
Come on.
And so this last school year in August, every Activate club was over 25 people, 25 kids.
Wow.
And so we really feel like in the next 10 years, we have a scalable model that while youth pastors and other people can't get to schools, we're just going to train kids in schools.
That's it.
And so they're on a weekly coaching call from one of our staff.
Wow.
We go down there one time a school year, to meet all of their people and do culture, and we fund it. I mean, it's a $1,500 investment to run an Activate club.
Wow.
And so this kid is running a budget. They're running a team. So it's a whole, deep process. But out of that, we're seeing young people step into ministry faster and receive coaching.
Come on. How does somebody find out about that? Do you have a website?
We do. You can go to betheoneministries.com.
Okay.
And look at all we have.
Come on.
But yeah, and we're doing coaching for youth pastors that are under 250. And so we've done free coaching calls to help them provide the structure and the system and stuff like that. So anyway, Be the One is really growing. And then, we did that for about 5 years and then launched the house.
Wow.
And so we never really wanted to start a church. We wanted to take one over.
Okay.
And that was my goal.
Right.
To take one over because I'd already started Be the One.
Right.
And it was hard. But that wasn't God's plan. And
Sure.
so I was speaking in Memphis at a church. I was there all week long. The pastor comes to me after we're done. He says, "Man, this is great what you're doing, but it needs to be a part of a church and you need to start it." And I was like, "Thank you, sir." The church was about 2,000 people, and I was like, "Thank you." Oh, that you see some, pleasantry.
Oh,
but,
yeah, you did. Yeah. Do the pastor
Got
thing.
in the
I
car.
got you, buddy.
Got in the car.
Yeah.
Started driving, and about 30 or 40 miles into my trip, another pastor called me and said, "Hey, I've been praying for you. I think it's time for you to start your church." And I said, "Shut up." I said, "Do you know where I am?" He said, "I have no idea where you are." I was like, "Do you have any ministry friends in Memphis?" He's like, "I don't have one." I was like, "Ah."
Okay, maybe this is from another source.
So anyway, we moved 2016 up to Rogers. Didn't know anybody. Really felt like that's where God had called us to move. And started the house.
Wow.
And now, 5 years in, 400 people. We just bought a new building.
So
We're doing
exciting.
renovation on it. So it's exciting to see what God's doing.
Yeah. Now, I've been up there to the building. I'm excited. I've seen the plans.
Yes.
I cannot wait to be,
That's
be
right.
there for that Sunday.
Yeah, it's going to be super exciting. We bought a building that's about 20,000 square feet,
Wow.
6.4 acres. So we're excited
Wow.
about the opportunity
Yep.
of what's happening. And we just had Tim Barton Sunday.
Come on.
Yep. So
We've had him on the podcast. We're not going to have him back after.
I understand. I understand.
No, that man, Steve, that is incredible. 10 years ago. It's always easier to look back than it is to look forward.
It is.
It's always, I was telling somebody the only time it's easy to look forward is when you're going downhill.
That's right.
But when you're going uphill, you can always look back and see where you came from.
Right.
But it's hard to have faith for where you're going because it's up there. I know I'm climbing.
Sure.
I know I'm going in the right direction.
Oh, yeah.
But it's scary because I don't see where that right direction is. And that's where you were.
Oh, my gosh.
You
That's
you dreamed,
Oh, yeah.
then you stepped out in faith, and then it was the everyday.
And, I don't think it's just great leadership or thoughts. I do really believe that, the Lord blessed it.
Mm-hmm.
And because of serving this like it was mine,
Mm-hmm.
I believe that when you sow those seeds,
Right.
you reap those seeds.
Good.
And so we have a lot of vision. Our goal is to have many campuses.
Come on.
And we're hoping the next 10 years, we're believing for a lot of growth, and not just growth numerically, but transformation. People's
it.
lives, stepping into ministry, believing they can, and so we're pretty excited about where we're at.
That's incredible, man. I'm so proud of you guys. And, I remember when you first started out, I said, if there's anybody that I know that this dream is going to work, I said, I know it's you. And I know that because I've worked with you. I know that because I've seen you in the background. I wasn't the guy that just listened to you speak.
Right.
Or just listen to you in front of kids and they laugh and you're funny and yeah, he's good at camp. I knew it wasn't just because you were here that you were successful, quote unquote.
Right.
I knew there was an anointing on your life, and I knew no matter where you went, you're going to kill it, and I knew it. And because people were drawn to you here, not because of the red T-shirt, it was because of your anointing. And,
Right.
and that's what I think every counselor has to realize.
Right.
Yes, the red T-shirt helps get the start, but it's their anointing that causes that kid to want to be back in their bunkhouse, to be around them year after year, and that's the same with you. And once you left here, it's no different. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Well, I think that, the 16 years of being here, working hard, getting it done, and we're not the Brookhill staff that it is today. Support staff.
We've added a couple people.
You got
one or two.
you got 125 people
We do.
doing jobs, and you guys have really honed down on specific
Sure.
responsibilities. We did it all. There was no 40-hour work week.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? It was not a 35 and you're done.
Right.
It was all in.
That's right.
And I remember when we got to the place where it was like, hey, we're going to have to let you off. Hey, we're going to have to split the nights. Hey, we're going to have to. And I think in those transitions and learning that ministry doesn't ever sleep, I'm super grateful. Now, obviously, I have a schedule and I have a rhythm, and my wife lets me know when I've done too much. But I think that there were some components that were just unlocked, that dreams aren't built from 9 to 5.
That's right. That's right. Clocking in and clocking out.
Dreams aren't built from 9 to 5.
I want to be off after 5.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to be off after 5, and you're not going to dream. That's good.
And so if you have a dream in you, I want to start this, I want to do that, I want to mentor this, I want to help some young marrieds, we want to have a life group. You're not going to do that from 9 to 5.
No, that's good.
And
so true.
I think that we've been able to grow because our best work isn't the 8 hours that we're working.
I think it's so true. I think we look at a lot of people and we see their success and we see the fruit. Obviously we call it success. The Bible calls it fruit.
Right.
We see people's fruit and we think, it must have come easy for them. We see them on the stage or we see them on social media and we just assume it was handed to them. But the bottom line is nobody that is doing anything successful or for the Lord or whatever isn't working more than 9 to 5.
It's true.
Nobody.
And if you're not working on logistics or you're not working on structure, then you're working on your heart.
That's right.
More success doesn't make it easier.
No.
It makes it harder.
100%.
The numbers are bigger.
Right.
The risks are bigger. The people's lives that you're, maneuvering in the sense of, if I change this job description, how will that affect them? And so...
Well, more people, more problems.
That's it, 100%. And so a lot of people feel like, oh, it's better at the top. No, it's stressful at the top. And I think that every new hill that I've climbed, I've realized that I can only stay there based on the soul health and the work to, rid myself of assumptions or thoughts or triggers or whatever and keep moving forward. And so there's a lot of self-care and work that has to happen to continue leading at a high level.
So true. So true. And you've challenged me that, you've challenged me in that over the last couple of years, and it's been incredible to really take a step back in it. A good friend of ours, Sean, said it's important that you have a healthy work-life balance or ministry life balance. And I know for me, obviously, I've worked really hard to get here. You've worked really hard to get where you're at. But I know that you and Katie are very intentional.
We are.
About y'all getting off on your own somewhere and taking a trip and just hanging out and,
we
just
do. And I tell you what,
build a relationship.
I think that for us, balance has been always something that has been hard for me.
Sure.
And so I don't 100% know if you can balance seasons of momentum.
True.
And I don't know if you can completely balance seasons of routine and you're in a rut.
Sure.
Like you got to give it. But what we do is we are very intentional about how we take off time.
Sure.
So now it is, if we take off for vacation, I know I need a week before I go on vacation to land the plane.
Right.
And the first week of vacation is finishing that last email, finishing that last text, like I'm landing the plane. I'm starting to dream about vacation. We're starting to go to Walmart. I'm starting to get emotionally locked in.
Sure.
And then I do the 2 weeks.
Good.
And then I do 3 days of reorientation. So it's like, now I have a system for exit and for entrance. And I think that those sometimes are more healthier than, I've worked too much. We're going to have family time. We're going to eat together. We're going to do, but there are different seasons that I think I want health.
Yep.
And that produces the balance.
This is something you've talked to me about, that you do this every year now, or is it something you try and do every year where y'all take 2 weeks off?
Yeah.
That's a mandatory thing for you guys.
It's a mandatory thing. And not only that, but, and not everybody has the ability to do, what we're doing.
Sure.
But I used to think, so here's the deal. My wife grew up where her parents had a timeshare.
Right.
So they went 2 weeks a year and they did timeshare.
Okay.
They got to know the people. They got to know the blend. I mean, they went to the same place.
Right.
Well, I grew up broke. And so we didn't go nowhere.
You weren't time sharing it?
No, we weren't time sharing it. The Sexton family was not time sharing it. Well, our vacation was a picnic. You know what I'm saying? And so when we got married, the whole backgrounds.
Sure.
It took me years to come off with some cash and to say, let's do a vacation.
Right.
And I actually, remember having this conversation with her. I was like, listen, we're not going to get where we want to be if we spend money on this vacation. And she just looked at me and said, listen, if we don't go on a vacation and have some fun, we ain't going to be married. And so
we're not going to get where we want to be if we don't go on vacation.
I was like, you want to pay for 2 houses? I'm like, okay, we'll go for a vacation.
This is cheaper.
It's cheaper. And it's a math equation. So we started doing.
She can break it down in a way that you're able to see it.
Well, it's my 8. Sometimes some people need a suggestion. Other people need the hammer.
Hey, listen, we have all said there is Steven before Katie and there is Steven after Katie. Total different guy after Katie.
Oh my gosh, she's a saint.
Yeah, you being an 8, there were times, even being your friend, it's like somebody's got to talk to that guy. I'm not the guy. And then Katie comes along, she's having all those conversations that you need to have. And
oh my gosh, and she just says it in a way that it's like, it's like put your hand on the bull, and the bull is and so, but I think that vacation for those that are listening. There's got to be a moment when you're pulling away from stress and answering the calls and making the high-level decisions because your family's going to remember what you did with them, not what you did for them.
Say that again.
I think your family is going to remember what you did with them, not what you did for them.
That's
and
so
all
good.
of my counseling, talking to young people with senior counselors or whatever, the parent that bought the car, it was not the same as the parent that stopped working to go be with their kid.
So true.
And the sacrifice is much greater to buy a car.
Sure.
I mean, you're talking about
Financially.
$20,000-$30,000 investment, insurance, whatever. But
sometimes time can be the greater sacrifice.
And especially
if money's no object, time can be the greater.
Well,
sacrifice.
I think I would say that time is the number one commodity. You never get more of it.
Nope.
And now people base love off of time.
Yeah. Come on. That's incredible.
So,
man, Steve, I got to ask you about one more thing.
Okay.
And, we haven't voted on whether we're going to have Barton back, so we'll work on that. But I can already tell you, I've got way more stories and things to talk about. We'll save that for the next time. But I do want to ask you, your son is putting on a red T-shirt for the first time this summer in 2021. That's got to be cool. You and Katie both were counselors. How does it feel?
Oh my goodness.
To see Trevor, because obviously we want things for our kids, but ultimately our kids are going to choose.
They're going
right?
to make a choice.
But to see him, he shines here, I think. And
He
and
absolutely
he loves
does. He loves young people. He's very passionate. He's funny. And so I think that I love the fact that he gets to be here when I'm not here.
Yeah, sure.
And, I am praying that all the intentional moments and conversations and, things that happen with the counselors and kids and young people and sweating and working and, feeling like you're going to die in the heat, or you're going to, be like a sponge in the rain. I'm praying that he has a moment where he realizes that his effort can be used by God. Mm-hmm. And, I have no aspirations of him being here for 16 years or not, but he wants to do it.
Come on.
He wants to do it. And he's seen the impact that it's made in our life and the conversations that we've had. And so he's like, Dad, I'm ready. Yeah. I want to do it. Yeah. And so we came to JC training a week ago, and he's fired up. He's ready to go. And I'm excited for him to experience it as a red T-shirt.
Come on. I love that, man. That's one of the things I love about Brookhill. In fact, Jason Ross showed me this last week. There was a camper that had on his shirt monogrammed or something, 4th generation.
What?
Not 3rd generation. 4th generation. That means great grandma or great grandpa came here, and then that's grandma, awesome. And then mom or dad, and then that is so cool. And that's just one of the things I love. I mean, this is 58 years legacy. That's what I think of when I think of Brookhill, and that's just
absolutely.
It's so fun to see your kids
coming in, stepping into legacy. And learning a culture that shaped a lot of things that they don't know why we sing and make a big deal.
That's right.
They don't understand the connection with everything that we do.
Right.
But I believe that Brookhill staff made us more intentional parents. And we've been just running a bunkhouse for the last 16 years.
Yep.
And so I think he's going to see it and go, I get it.
I get it. Now I know why my parents are, where they're at.
Right.
That's incredible. I love it. My daughter's going to be working with him.
It's going to be fun.
That is, we're coming full circle.
We're coming full circle. Yeah. As long as they don't get in the sink.
That's right. Yeah, that would be a little awkward
let's
now.
Let's not redo some of the old pictures.
Well, Steve, we're going to have you back, man. This has been a lot of fun. I love just talking and hanging out. And this is the only way I can do that now because you moved off and left me here.
And so, you're super busy.
I'll make time for you. I'm just sitting here. But this is it. This right here is what you and I used to do. We just used to connect. And I think there's something about this. If people will do more of this, that's that iron sharpens iron. That is that encouragement. There's been times where I've needed it, you've needed it. Man. But so many things I want us to talk about, so we're going to have to bring you back. So.
Yeah, let's do it. Next time we come back, we'll talk about the time I frustrated you.
Okay.
When, it's a great story.
Okay. All right. So that's a little teaser there. Okay. That means we got to have you back.
Love it.
Thank you so much. All right. We appreciate you guys checking us out. We'll see you next time.
Later.